This battle rap community is wild, man. Every day it's a new snitch in the battle rap community, man. My thing is, Surf is in the feds, right? He's in the feds, right? And you think Surf will be able to walk that yard if he's a stool pigeon in the feds? Like, they went through his paperwork. So something's not adding up. It doesn't say he snitched on anyone in the paperwork. He just implicated himself. He just told the truth about himself. And last night I seen A Verb talking about, yeah, they saying Surf is a snitch. This community is just all over the place, man. You know what I mean? And then, bad news. Bad news interview, bad news. His life is a movie. You know what I mean? Maybe he should think about writing a movie about his life. But I see a lot of people saying a nigga is capping. But how do we know the dude is capping? You know? I've been places where little 9 and 10-year-old niggas was like that in basketball, man. And a couple of older heads respect like Shorty can play. You know what I mean? He can really play. He may have been like exaggerating on the age. You know what I mean? But there's young boys out here that can hoop. You know what I mean? There was young boys back in the days that was able to hoop. You know? But y'all just out here saying bad news is lying. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I mean? We never know. None of us grew up with bad news. Until one of his people or somebody close to him come out and say that nigga is fabricating about his story, you have to respect it. You know what I mean? And he told niggas already. Niggas bring that shit up in the battle, it's on and popping. Got a lot of battle rappers shook. So bad news must be really about that because you see these battle rappers, how they react. Look how he walked in that motherfucking venue that night when people said he wasn't going to show up. You know what I mean? Salute, G. They said that motherfucker wasn't going to show up. He walked in there like, I wish one of you niggas would. You know what I mean? Same way with Alpo, right? Alpo, yeah, he ratted, but Alpo told you he had to do what he had to do. And he was walking around comfortable, New York, D.C., wherever he went. Poe was comfortable, man. You know? He was a killer at the end of the day. And none of these niggas in battle rap is going to test bad news. Listen, Kid's story was wild, man. You know what I mean? The shit was so crazy. I don't even be watching these battle rappers interviews no more, but for some reason I watched that interview and I'm like, maybe he's telling the truth until somebody come out and say that Happy Meal shit was bullshit and that he smacked somebody when he was 10 years old, an older dude. To somebody come out and say that nigga's lying, we gotta respect it. Then T-Rex. I see T-Rex. Rex was on that same I said what I said joint. And he talked about the bad news shit. Rex, you better fall back from that. News probably stepped to you, man. You know what I mean? 89% of you niggas ain't gangsters here in the battle rap community. They're just rappers, man. You know what I mean? News called all these niggas bluff. All of them. And now they go over to Tsu Surf. He's a rat, but Surf didn't implicate nobody in his paperwork. He just told what he did. You know what I mean? How would Tsu Surf be able to walk that Fed's yard if he was a fucking rat? That shit don't play, man. Somebody would have ripped that nigga open. You know what I mean? See what they did to Preacher, right? You know what I mean? Because they said he was a rat. They said Preacher was a rat and Preacher got touched in the yard. So you trying to tell me if Tsu Surf ratted, nobody did nothing to him? Like, something's not adding up. I think niggas don't know how to read paperwork these days and niggas just jump to conclusions, bro. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about that shit anymore because I don't sell drugs no more. I'm not out there wilding no more, man. I go to work every day, man. I'm a fucking civilian. So I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, you know? What up? Yeah, they saying Surf the ratting, man. Go to Verb's channel, man. You know? What up? But I know Verb's is they said Gunna was, but who knows, man? I didn't even look into his shit. But I just know Averb want to throw dirt on Surf name and try to hinder Surf before he come home. Because once Surf touch down, that little power Averb has is going to be over with. And Verb knows that. So, you know, he wants to like belittle Surf and have him look a certain way. But Verb, that's not gonna work, buddy. Once that nigga touch down, all your power is gone, my nigga. Because if y'all remember correctly, when Tsu Surf was on the streets and in them spaces, and Verb used to do his spaces, Verb used to have 3 to 13 people in his spaces whining and complaining. Surf used to have 300 to 2,000 in his spaces, man. But when Surf went to prison, it was a power shift. You know what I mean? A lot of these fucking battle rapping, these groupies need to be up under a certain battle rapper, so they migrated over to A-Verb, man. And this is just all the truth, man. Yeah, Verb is wildin', bro. You know what I mean? And these niggas that saying that Surf's a rat, they're gonna have to stand on that when he touched down. You know? And I believe Surf will be home this summer or something. Yo, Smack, if you're listening, nigga, we need an event, Smack. We need a URL event. Smack, by URL being dormant, my nigga, you fucked up Champion of the Year. That's why the pot was so low on Champion of the Year, and you know they had to do all this other shit to get that money right, man. By URL being dormant, man. Hold up. But it's crazy. We don't know if Bad News is lying or telling the truth until somebody from his hood, from that project that he from, said this nigga is lying. It's easy to reach out to any blogger or battle rapper, but nobody reached out and said anything about Bad News' story, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, the community did not respect URL. So the community had to suffer this year, man. You know what I mean? I had to suffer. I told y'all, URL is the heart and soul of this battle rap community, man. Word up. When URL is dormant, the community ain't right. And now we got this Apollo event. I gotta find the bootleg man for that shit. You know what I mean? I'm not paying for that. I only want to see like, I want to watch Nitty and Daylight. Daylight's gonna beat dog shit down Nitty's leg. I want to see Jazz and Hollow. I want to see A-Verb and Chilla Jones. And I believe it's another battle on that card I want to see. You know what I mean? About the rest of that shit they can keep. I don't want to see Arsenal and Marv 1 so Arsenal could disrespect his ass. You know what I mean? And then I'm good on that shit. Real. Yeah, that's a fact. Rum Nitty's overrated, man. I just don't know how these niggas be overrating that nigga like that. That nigga's one dimensional and overrated, man. That's just my opinion.